So I was there not very long, a few years, learning a lot. Then later on, I left to go back to my machinery line.
Machinery. Okay, tell us about that.
Yeah, I joined a high-speed diesel engine manufacturer after TI. So this is a German firm, one of the top name in the world, because their product is the high-speed diesel engine, huge capacity, used in Navy, used in high-speed train, ferry, and all this. So it's the company Asia Rep office. So there's a workshop and then the product support, that means the after sales service. I was pulled in, by some sort like a headhunter. They asked me whether interested, then go through an interview, then go to see their German, that's the GM for the whole product support group. So he's quite impressed with my experience because I have some hands-on experience. That's what they feel is different from other Singapore engineers. Because Singaporean, if you are graduate from university as an engineer, most probably you don't have a chance to hands-on to say dismantle an engine or assemble an engine by yourself. Hands-on experience. So for me, I do have such experience. So he think that I'm very suitable for their system because for German, a lot of them come out as an apprentice. One German that sit together in my office, same office as me. At that time, he's already 60 over. So he said he start work as an apprentice at 14 years old. Morning go to school, then afternoon go to factory as an apprentice. And then start all the basic machinery job, filing, fitting, operate machine. And then later on join in some project. They develop those aluminum engine case at the time. So he was involved in some of these projects. So later on, he become one of the service engineer. He was seconded to at that time was Indonesia just independent in the 50. Indonesia independent in the 1945, 48. So they built out their own navy fleet at that time. So their navy ship mostly using this brand of German engine. So he was seconded to Jakarta, their navy base, as some sort like a service engineer or the owner rep. So he speak very fluent Indonesian, and then married a local woman from Java, a Javanese. So later on, he's so like he stay in Southeast Asia already. He don't want to go back because his family already here, his kid also here. So later when company set out the Asia headquarters, then he come over. He's a very nice guy, very interesting guy.
Okay.
His experience, you can see the German industry, how they train their technician, engineer, and he already, work as a specialist. So according to him, his schoolmate become a doctor, go those academic line stream. So later become a doctor. But he say he's very proudly saying that, oh, my pay and his pay is the same. So I think in the German industry, this craftsmen, specialist craftsmen, their social status and their economic status, they are pair with the other specialists.
I see. They really value that, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did the Germans work differently from the Americans, do you feel?
Yes. Uh, I was sent back to the head office in Germany for a while.
Mm.
So the way they do things is during the working hour, they really concentrate to do the job. Once time's up, sorry, they will keep everything and go.
This one is who?
No,
The
German
Germans.
in Germany, the
Okay.
German office. Everybody just keep I think because they summer they work from 7 to 3.
Mm.
And then in Germany, summer time the sun only set at about at night, maybe 9 something, 10 o'clock. So to them, summer there are 2 days. One is working day from 7 to 3. Then the second day is from 7 to about 9 or 10. Is the enjoying day, especially summer. So 3 o'clock, everybody pack their thing and go. The whole office, you don't see anybody around anymore. I mean, in the shop floor also the same. So then I say after how you spend your second day. So I mean the office there beside there's a lake. Yeah, huge lake constant. You say, oh, you will drink beers on the lakeside. We will meet friends having dinner and all this. So they really enjoy their life the second day. So their lifestyle is different.
Yeah.
When working time, they really concentrate, they really focus, they put in all the effort to do whatever they need to do. But after office hours, sorry, they say, I got my own family time, I got my own time, my second day on the sun. Then you don't talk about works. I mean, during the beer drinking and all this, they don't discuss about work. They
Mm.
talk about their friend, they talk about family, talk about last year where they go. So it's quite different. They don't mix work and life.
Yeah. There's always the stereotype, right, of the Germans as being, without humor, very direct. Is this your experience?
It's, it's also depends. I think these are individual character. That right, the one who sit
Mm.
at the same office of me is very humorous. Imagine he know most of the Indonesian political figure, because he was especially in the Navy. So the Navy officer, the Navy minister, and then all this, a lot of people he know. And then because he can speak Bahasa Indonesia, so he can communicate direct with all these people. And those people really respect him because a white guy, and then especially in certain area, and then can speak very fluent uh,
Mm-mm.
Indonesian, and then can be friend of them. So his relationship with the Indonesia Navy is very good. Uh, Everybody come to Singapore will look for him.
So you finally, I think, found your niche, right, in MDU and stayed there for a while.
Yes. I enjoy that because that one is really because when I start work, I work in this type of local enterprise. So the way they do things and such an MNC is totally different. I quote you an example.
Mm.
The workshop that we repair engine, overhaul engine, normally is, everywhere you see people repair engine and overhaul engine. It's very dirty, very oil everywhere, dirty oil everywhere, grease. Then the repair bay that we maintain in this German MNC. One day, one of our Asian Asian from Philippines. So he bring one of his friend. His friend also is own a small diesel engine workshop. So he come. He say, I like to see how you all repair engine. See whether it's different from us. So we bring him down. Wow. He was very impressed. He said, I can sleep here, I can lay down here. My place, everywhere so dirty. He confessed, he said, my place, those engine oil everywhere, so dirty. He said, your
Yeah.
place so clean. I can lie down, I can sleep here.
This one is a
So
SME lah. Is it a SME?
yes,
Okay,
a
okay.
small SME lah. So
Right.
he say the way you do things, he say my tools, hand tools, spanner
Uh,
everywhere, and then people use this spanner, maybe just leave it here. Then the next one will come and look for a spanner and say, hey, where's this spanner? Some special tool. But for us, we all put nicely on the wall. After you use, you must use a cloth to clean it out nicely and then put it back.
okay,
And the
okay.
next one to know where to, and then you don't need to clean anymore. Straight away can take the tools and use. I mean, it become a habit, also a systematic way of doing things. And then like measurement, a lot of this part after use we have to measure. So we got an aircon room, we got the gynae table, we got a proper stand, put the item and then measure it, correctly, precisely. So you say the way we measure, just beside the engine, very dirty, a lot of oil, all black color, then just clean out and then just measure and then let's go. So yeah,
Yeah,
you have to do this thing.
it sounds very simple, right? But actually, if you don't enforce
Yeah,
it systematically, it will never happen, right?
yes. That's why, but I think also quite different.
Yeah.
Uh, they this is maybe a chicken and egg
Mm,
because you got big margin, so you can implement this, process and systematic way of doing things. So, uh, in turn, you give a good impression for your customer. Your customer trust on you, and they will come back. Especially for the German company, because their customer are mainly maybe in Asia country and all those high-speed ferry. So their price is definitely not cheap
mm,
because every package they will come with an engineer from Germany, stay with you for a year or two, and then after a year or two, if you want to continue, definitely you have to pay for it. And
mm,
then the support of this engineer from Germany is all from the local office, from our Singapore office. So we got engineer in Hong Kong, in Philippines, in Indonesia, in Malaysia, in even Burma, Thailand, Taiwan. So anytime they give a call, always priority to support them.
mm. Yeah, I think that's a very important point, right? Like after the 85 recession, the government saw that SMEs should be part of the economy and they should contribute and they should upskill and all that. But it
Yes.
seems that it's always been a struggle, right? For them to, like, just the example you gave there, to clean up their premises, their workshop. Do you think that is the real issue? There is you have to be successful first, and then that allows you to implement many of these processes. Because if you don't have the resources, then if you're SME, then how are you able to do what the MNCs are doing? The key problem.
My experience is because the German company that I work with,
Hmm.
it got long history.
Yeah.
So they are always in the forefront. So they got the advantage compared to their competitor,
Mm.
whether to the Japanese competitor or at that time the Chinese competitor. They are always one step. People will think that they are higher standard. But for SME, I think initially definitely need some support because otherwise, if they cannot survive, then we don't talk about build out a good quality or good
Mm.
standard and to grow. So I think initially you have to survive. So surviving initially, maybe you have to find your way to your
Mm.
cost. how to take care of your cost. If I mean, Singapore SME, what I know is the two major costs. One is the rental cost. One is the human resource cost. These are the two biggest challenge they have to take care of. So if there's some support from some association or some government support, I don't know whether the initial surviving period is important. If they can survive through the initial period, they can build out a simple system to survive, then the improvement can be add on. Then we can build our own name. This one maybe we won't talk, but later on when I joined the other local famous brand name, the Sound Blaster company, it's a different wonders of company. Although that one is some innovation involved, but not every company can have such a innovation in that timing, and the timing is good, and also the
do you think that's a structural problem that a lot of the SMEs remain small and medium, right? That they can survive, but they don't, grow a lot. That because it is quite saturated, right, by the MNCs and the government-linked companies. Even the government-linked companies are doing a lot of the things that the SMEs are doing in the past, right?
Yes,
it
because
creates competition.
Singapore, the market is very small. I should say, like SME in China and SME in Singapore, has have a lot different, because SME in China, if they can stand firm in the initial state, they can grow very fast. In Singapore, within the market itself, in Singapore alone, it's already very competitive because we are a very mature market. So first, you have to survive in Singapore. It's really not easy. And then once you can survive the Singapore, then we talk about moving out to ASEAN or China or India, the bigger market. Then there's another different ball game already. The different barrier will be there. That you have to have a different type of support. I mean, the way I look at it. Otherwise, it's very difficult for Singapore SME compared to, say, a China SME. I think we are not in the advantage at all.
It's all been very interesting. So I have a few questions to ask you since you mentioned China, right? So all along you have been following. You have this engineer life, and then you have this other life, right? Where you are very interested in China. You used to probably see yourself as Chinese ad.
Yes.
And you are aware of the industry in China as well. How much do you keep in touch with what's happening in China all these years?
Okay, later part of my career, because I have a chance to travel to China quite frequent, and then also set up a factory there, deal with the local authority, buying piece of land, build a factory, employ people, and then run the factory, and then finally sell off the factory because situational change and all this. So I should say China's have really changed a lot. I start going to China in mid-90s, and then less travel at 2015 maybe. And then so from this maybe 15 years, I see the changes. Initially, very, I should say, we compare to Singapore standard, we always think that Chinese good is always cheap and no good. Always can use 1-2 times, then maybe you have to throw it away. Although
Now
it's
everyone
cheap.
is buying Chinese goods now, Xiaomi and everything.
Now So I also come across a lot of Chinese factory because I visited in the southern area, that means the Dongguan, Guangzhou area, where they started their manufacturing, and then also the Shanghai, Yangtze area, and then we set up a factory in Qingdao, the northern part. So I do travel quite a fair bit in terms of coastal area in China.
I see.
Their changes is fantastic. I should say, compared to first time I visited one factory, they're doing this coin, and then so they're using manual to round the wire to do the coin, and then counting by a counter. That was before year 2000. And then nowadays, I visited those factories. They call it the dark factory. That means they don't need human being. They don't need to turn on the light.
Oh, dark factory. Okay.
Yes. I mean, this is something that we read from the magazine or news or see how improvement are there. Because we got one contractor, initially they just built a mouse, keyboard. You can imagine, building all these are simple injection molding and then manual to assemble, and then use a simple PCB printed circuit board. Then sell it. His cost is only, we can sell the printer at renminbi maybe $8. That means Sing dollar maybe $1, $1 or $1.50. And then this company, the same boss, nowadays you know what they're doing. It's doing drone. Those unmanned aeroplane. And then his factory, not, I mean, same area, although it's different factory, but same area, because the process is totally different. And then the improvement, because from this keyboard mouse to building a drone, the in between, you see how many steps he have jumped. And then that's why this guy, when I know him, he's only 20 over years old. When he started out this keyboard and all this, very young. So he got the opportunity to start this keyboard and mouse. Now he's about 50 years old, about 20, 30 years later. His factory is fantastic, as I say. So you can see the progress that they've gone through.
Yeah, I don't know if it's kind of similar to Singapore in a way, just much, much, much larger scale, but the same idea,
Yes.
right? Economic development first, and then the social development will take care of itself. That seems to be China's philosophy. So, what do you think of Chinese socialism? Do you think that works?
I mean, every country is different.
Yeah.
I mean, Singapore is more China. China is very huge in terms of population, in terms of area and all this. And then also, they are so different between the coastal area and the inner land. So I think to manage such a large country, it's definitely compared to managing Singapore, I think you can't really compare. Also, we see the end result. China, from compared to late 90s, where I start visiting, I think now one of the thing, my personal feeling is it really improved a lot. In terms of when we first time go, one thing I am afraid is eating and drinking. Every dinner or every lunch, people will try to invite you, go for lunch. Then during the lunch or dinner in the late 90s, you can't finish one. I mean, they stack out all the plate one by one, and then and then we can drink those white wine. to us is very difficult. So until nowadays, I heard even you invite the government officer to come up for lunch, they will say no, thank you. That changes.
Okay.
I still remember the 中秋节 Mid-Autumn Festival is on the 15th of August. So on the 14th that day, I was traveling in one of the city. Wow, jam everywhere. I was surprised. I don't know, first time. So I asked the driver, so what's the day today? Why so many vehicles? Oh, you say today is 14th August. Tomorrow is 中秋节, Mid-Autumn Festival. Everybody is trying to send their gift by today. So we say all the government office long queue, the car long queue. Some bring in physical mooncake, some maybe not physical mooncake, maybe with an envelope on the cash card and all this. So I was so shocked, everywhere jam. And then that means not only to government officer, the contract, they always say the A party and B party. The B party definitely have to do something to the A party. A bigger contract, say a construction company, the property owner, you as a subcon, you have to try to do something in this side of period. So everywhere jam. But nowadays, I understand no such thing anymore.
No more.
No more. So this is a huge improvement. And then the other thing, like 1-2 years back, the way the property level was, those people who live at a very poor stage is nowadays above the so-called poverty line. But although the line standard to us is still low, but I think for 1.4 billion people to fill their stomach is definitely not easy. And they did it, that we can see the result.
Can I go back to the part about the engineers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, although a lot of our economic growth has been based on industry and what the engineers have contributed, we don't really know much about the story of the engineers. There still is a fixation in Singapore about with the white collar education and academic jobs, paper administrative jobs. Um, why do you think this is so, right? And how can we know more about the stories of engineers like yourself and what they contributed to Singapore? What can we do to acknowledge that kind of heritage?
I think this is the society trend. Nowadays, students don't like to go to engineering course anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe they feel very difficult. You have to do a lot of homework. To learn the knowledge is not easy. So doing business administration is easy. So I don't know. You first maybe you have to build some interest. Like my son, he also work as a chemist. Something that is quite difficult to general people. Something that not easy to handle. So I think since young, we have to build out his character that is more curious on something that he don't know, and then he's more daring in a way that to explore something new. So I think we have to build out our young to this direction rather than how should I say, try to do something easy and then to get them more challenge when they are young. So I think engineering and science, this direction will have more challenge to them. That's I don't know. I don't know. Is it right? But
Yeah. Do you think that Singapore has lost a lot of its engineering expertise? You know, because the older engineers are mainly retired, right? And somehow they don't pass down their experience to the younger generation.
there is no such a system. Say
Yeah,
when you
of
say
course.
pass
Yeah,
down,
yeah.
I also don't know how
Yeah,
to pass
it's
down
not a
my thing
job to
to.
pass down, right? But
Yeah,
somehow the institution must be able to, you know, retain the expertise and the experience, right? It's not like
yes,
the
yes. I
older
think
people. Yeah.
very important. Like I quote the example, say our MRT system.
Mm,
Although people come and go, but the know-how of our MRT, how it was built, what is it different from the Hong Kong MRT or China MRT? We must know whoever sit on the chair
mm,
or whoever working on the MRT, whether you're old, you're young, doesn't matter. Because the old one will retire eventually.
yeah.
New one may be change job, new people may come in. But there should be a system that this thing had to be hold on. Whoever come in, the US company that I worked when I came back, the first company that I worked, at once this is privately talking, the HR manager, he told me, he said, they are not worried about their engineer turnover.
Mm,
He said, because we already have a system. Any engineer come in, we will provide the training. They will know what's happening on our shop floor, on the production area. The only thing they afraid of is the union, because they are afraid the operator work out in a group, then the machine no one to operate, all have to stop. For engineer and supervisor, you work out tomorrow, they employ a new one, although there will be some hiccup here and there, but that is not their worry, because someone will pick up this thing very fast because the system is there. And then all this is documented. So people come
mm,
in can pick up easily. Our system, I think it had to be in this way.
yeah.
We have a proper documentation, and then the experience, the know-how, you know, the challenge that we have learned, it should not repeat by itself.
I just have one last question, Xiao Kai. It's been a very interesting conversation again, which is a lot of the Chinese educator, right, like the Nanta as well, particularly. So when they graduate, they find that they have a lot of struggles, right, in the civil service, especially because the working language there is English. And I think even in the MNCs, I've heard of some Chinese ed who have gone to work in the MNCs, like yourself and others as well, and somehow they managed to overcome the challenge, right, of English. Do you know of Chinese ed who have done well in the MNCs, or they have gone into business and done very well?
Yes,
Mm,
yes, yes. I think going to business is uh, is one way out at that time. So
mm,
language barrier is something that depend on individual, because someone can pick up the language very fast. They can learn very fast. But someone, they may focus on the skill or know-how, but weak on the language. So this group of people, if they have the opportunity to excel in terms of the know-how, I got a friend,
yeah.
uh, is from the building industry. So he worked as a property developer. I mean, initially, as a technician.
Mm,
So he learned very fast because at that time he just graduated from poly. So as a owner's rep, So he managed to learn very fast. And then when times are right, someone looking for him say, can we cooperate? Because to set up your own business, the initial part is the capital. I mean, if you can have some capital to survive through the initial period, and then can have some job through your relationship. You know most of the contractor and all this. You start out as a sub contractor.
Mm.
So he become one of big boss today. Very successful in industry, in the building industry, and later on he not only do the building industry, he do the reclaiming job, and then he become one of the Singapore biggest reclaim. You know, previously those reclaiming job is always taken by Japanese company, then later the Korean people, and nowadays is this Singapore company that always got the reclaiming job.
Oh, is it? Okay. I didn't know
Yes,
that.
yes. So the know-how. So not only repeating, and initially he just work as a subcon and then do as a main con, and then you try to branch out to those reclaim, sea reclaim and all this. So this is also some new technology, and he managed to overcome, and then uh,
Yeah.
definitely with some support. I mean, his relationship, learn the technique,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then he's very successful.
Do you think it's almost like a blessing in disguise that he was not English ed? Because if he's English ed, he could have
Yes, maybe.
probably just gone the mainstream, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Uh, some of my friends,
Mm.
how, yes, they, I mean, definitely my schoolmate and all this, although some are still, I should say, today's standard, they are not very successful, but they have do something well in the other thing, like writing, become a writer. You think this is to him, uh, because he's good in Chinese, so later on he become a very good writer.
I
So
see.
I think he's very successful. You know, not necessary to have to become an engineer or someone in the government service or whatever.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And for yourself as well, do you also I mean you continue to read. Do you also write and things like that? Culture and
Uh, right, seldom lah, because
mm,
uh, okay, I read a lot, and I like to share
yes.
my uh, know-how knowledge. So I also work as a volunteer docent in museum and art gallery. These
Mm,
are something that I learned after my retirement, or start when I going to my retirement. So I've been service in the museum and art gallery for maybe more than 10 years, coming to 15 years
mm,
as a Mandarin volunteer, telling the
fantastic.
story in Mandarin.
Yes. I mean, you never really lost that interest, right, in history and culture that you had when you were young,
Mhm. Yes,
right?
yes. I think that is true, because even after I left school, I still read something more, I mean, very regular, uh, in terms of history, in terms of some fiction. So, I mean, I follow up quite closely lah, with
Mm,
the development of the society, you know. So, uh, some political affair, that's interesting to me.
mm,
It's like the drama series nowadays.
yes.
You read from different angle.
I just have a final question to ask you. Uh, for yourself, as well as maybe of your Chinese ed generation, do you feel sometimes a bit frustrated that Singapore is essentially a English working language society?
Yes,
Mm,
yes. I think if we can be more balanced, that will be much better. Especially the China, we have about 5,000 years of history.
mm,
There's a lot of things happening in the history that if we can learn, and we can learn from what have been happened, and then nowadays to the events that happen, definitely you can trace back how people do it, how people handle this type of situation in the history.
mm,
I mean, just quote an example, but I think in terms of culture, in terms of Chinese language, that's so beautiful, so wonderful. For those people who are not in it, they don't know what they have missed. So I always tell my children, uh, although you no need to use it now, but you have to maintain it, and then maybe uh, at any time of your life, maybe you will enjoy it
yeah.
like what I did.
Yeah, and also the people as well, isn't it? Like Singaporeans, one of the worst national habits is to judge people based on their language, right? If someone cannot speak English, we tend to conclude the
Yes,
person is
yes,
no good, is not
yes.
capable,
I
right?
think, yeah lah. I mean, we really go a bit too far.
Mm,
I mean, it can be more balanced in terms of handling of Chinese language
yeah.
and know more about our own culture background for as a Chinese Singaporean, because there's really a treasure.
Mm.
If you totally miss it out, that's really a big loss.
Thank you very much, Sao Kai, for doing this podcast in English. I appreciate that. So that we can cross the bridge, right? And try
Yes,
to
yes, yes.
understand the world and the jobs and the lives of the Chinese ed. So, very happy to have you talk about your experiences. And I hope that this will encourage more of the Chinese ed to come up and speak about their stories on the podcast. Hopefully there'll be
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
If you know of more, let me know.
Yeah, sure, sure, sure.
Thank you very
Okay,
much,
thanks
Saukai.
for your invitation. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, talk to
Yeah.
you again. All right. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, bye.
Bye bye.